We got out of Gods and Generals, and it's fucking awful.
Gods of Egypt.
Or, I'm sorry, Gods of Egypt.
What is Gods and Generals?
A Civil War movie.
Oh, okay.
Totally the same
I
thing.
kind of wish that we'd gone and seen that.
I don't. This was at least not 18 hours long.
Okay, never mind. I retract my comparison.
Yeah, Gods and Generals has an intermission.
This bless this movie's heart. It was terrible, but that kind of like special terrible where you could tell everyone's kind of doing their best. Not the actors, but like the people who are doing the special effects and like the people who wrote the script. Their best wasn't good.
No.
But they were doing their best, and then they thought they did a good job, so they sequel baited us at the end.
Yeah, what was that?
It was adorable.
They should have. That's adorable that somebody wasn't smart enough to cut that ending out.
They're like, we did a good job. They're gonna eat this shit up. We should kind of give them a little taste of what's gonna happen in the next Gods of Egypt movie.
Well, our audience liked it apparently.
They were clapping at the end.
Not expecting that. Okay.
I can't they were kind of teenage girls, so I don't know if they were just
Were they?
happy because it was like a handsome dude,
Uh-huh.
or if they were stoned. Cause that's
Now
also,
that I could buy.
Yeah, it could very well be they were stoned.
Mm-hmm.
Like I could see this being a fun movie to go as like a little stoned 16-year-old.
Yeah, I could honestly see like Dave and I at 4 a.m. when we were 20 and high, and putting this on only because we couldn't find Dave's copy of Titus.
Titus is a stone cold bummer. This movie wasn't a stone cold bummer. It was just bad.
It's really bad. I miss when I cannot believe this movie had a $140 million budget.
Dude, really?
Yes.
Where did it go?
Hey, boy, that's the riddle they should be answering. This movie has a $140 million budget. Mm-hmm. And I guess that's easier than just lighting their fucking money on fire, because I miss when at least a big budget movie like this would, at the end of the day, still look good. Like it would still like an old like Hollywood, but like let's say Cleopatra, for instance, like where you could at least see the money on screen.
$140 million.
You can see the hundreds of millions of dollars on screen, and maybe the sets are impressive. Maybe they got some great matte paintings or some shit. You can at least feel like I'm watching something that they want to be really ambitious. Boy, anymore, you can throw $140 million at a fucking movie, and it can still look like fucking trash.
Knowing that this movie cost $140 million to make makes me find it a lot less adorable than I did when I thought this is like, oh, bless their heart, they made a movie. They did their best. They wrote a script when they were in high school about how cool it would be if the Gods of Egypt like sweared.
Yeah, right.
No. This, you know what this reminded me of? Have you ever seen The Librarian?
No.
Okay, well, the sequels to The Librarian are very much like this movie.
Oh, okay.
Which is so up its own ass about the mythology of it, and thinks that the main character is way, way, way more charming than he is. in those senses, it reminded me of this movie.
This movie, it reminded me of,
Special effects.
Well, then it reminded me of a PS1 game. In that regard, yeah, if I was playing this as a video game, right on. In fact, if there is a video game adaptation of this movie, maybe it wouldn't be that bad.
Like by the laws of opposites, the
by
video
the laws
game would
of
be
opposites.
fantastic.
I've seen that happen before, where the movie's bad, but the video game's alright.
Like what?
I remember liking the Wolverine Origins game better than I liked the Origins Wolverine movie. I might have been really high when I was playing it.
That's allowed.
But yeah, I remember like, yeah, sure, why not? This movie is the kind of spectacular bomb that ends careers. Like every frame of this movie, every line of dialogue, every piece of delivery, every piece of action looks like a bomb. It looks like just a colossal flop. If you were to show me just any single still shot of this movie, I wouldn't even have to hear any lines or anything. Just the first thought in my head was, that thing probably flopped at the box office.
This movie had some amazing lines in it. My favorite was probably the final words of the architect character, who was like the really handsome guy from A Knight's Tale.
Oh, Rufus Sewell.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And his last words were, "Gue."
I don't know what my favorite line in this movie is.
Question Gue, and at the very end, when they're like, you brought us back to life. We thought that would be impossible. And his response was, "Impossible, yes." And then a long pause, as if perhaps there was a second part of that line, but there super wasn't.
That was actually what I was thinking of in my head. Like, I was like, I know that if I do have a favorite line, I know it's that stupid thing he said at the end of this fucking movie.
Impossible, yes.
And I was doing the same thing. I was like, where's the next part of this line? Is he going to say, impossible, yes. Impractical, improbable,
nope.
No. But no, just impossible, yes. The end. That's the end of that scene.
Well, I feel like what might have happened was it's supposed to be like improbable, yes, impossible, no. But he said impossible, yes, and then had nowhere else to go. And then they ran out of money. So that...
So they just decided to keep the flub in the movie.
That's the way it is now. Mm-hmm. Still makes sense, right, guys?
I liked, there was a line earlier on in the movie with that dumb fuck kid, not Aladdin, he's talking with his girlfriend, and when it introduces them, it just seems like everything they talk about has something to do with the gods, because the word gods is in every single one of their sentences.
So we don't forget.
Just in case we don't forget that they're British.
They vary too. I don't mean to interrupt your story, but from like slightly British to like oi wanker British
to Gerard Butler, I think, in brownface.
Is that what was going on with his face?
Or a spray on tan? You can be an immortal, but you can still get a cheap tan.
I want him to be authentic ancient Egyptian, but not so much that they'd make him shave his beard.
And no one else in the movie does that.
Because, like, they showed the kind of side-by-side statues of the two, there was, like, Osiris, the god of obviously the good guy. And they flipped around to the opposite coin, it was like, and bearded god, the only bearded god you've ever seen in ancient Egyptian mythology.
Well, they just wanted him to look like he did in 300.
He just didn't want to shave.
Yeah. Man.
His face gets super cold, you guys.
When he's talking, he steals something for his girlfriend, and his girlfriend was like, "Did you steal this?" And he says, "Well, I couldn't wait around to pray for it to come true." To the gods, because that's what we talk about, gods stuff. Gods,
I feel like if the gods were actually on the earth and right there and obviously 3 feet taller than me and bleeding blood, I'd be a lot less likely to be an atheist. Because it's like he's right there, you know? He just exploded and turned into a water buffalo.
I'm sure Dave could figure out a way.
He's got mad skills. So speaking of the gods being 3 feet taller than normal people.
Yeah, those are some consistent looking effects,
that
weren't
was,
they?
Yeah.
That was jarring.
Like, I don't know if did they show that in the preview?
No, they did not.
Because I thought that, yeah, it was like, well, I don't remember this. Because we watched the preview several times.
Yeah.
The preview was hilarious.
Uh-huh.
But it's like Hobbit to Gandalf sort of ratio, generally.
Same type of effect that they're using in this, only that is a more well-made film than this. So it's like looking at like an effect it's fine, it's passable, versus like, let's say the Asylum trying to do the same type of effect. So you see both of the actors on screen, but it's jarring because it looks like he's carrying around maybe a baby with him, but they superimpose a 30-year-old man's head on him.
Yeah, that scene when they're running from the snakes and he just like scoops him up like a baby and is carrying him.
This movie, again, with the budget that it has, it makes the most simple things look fake. I'm like, apparently walking is hard, walking through water is hard, walking through dust is hard, swinging on a rope. Apparently all this shit's impossible because it's the most ungodly looking bad effect you've seen in a movie. I now believe that maybe you really can't walk through a puddle of water anymore.
Nope.
Because they needed a special effects crew for that. Or the guy swinging on the rope. And
that elicited a genuine chuckle from me.
It did me too.
He was running and the scene was all intense and there was like,
Uh-huh.
bloop, and it's like pitfall effect, and then he just drops into the back of the Goldmobile.
Swinging from the vines in Bugs Bunny's birthday blowout didn't look as bad as the effect in this film. This is the kind of movie that I know that like movies are really expensive nowadays, so to have a big colossal fucking flop in the level of like Heaven's Gate and stuff like that isn't that hard to come by nowadays, but it just seems like the kind of movie people are gonna lose their jobs over this thing. This is the kind of bad movie that...
Well, that kind of bums me out, though.
Whenever I see, like, okay,
who's gonna lose their job?
I mean, I don't know, but I'm just saying, not that I want someone to, because I like Alex Proyas' movies in the past, but whenever you hear about just this colossal disaster of a Hollywood fuck-up, it's always a movie like this. It's always something like this, or Heaven's Gate, or like... Cleopatra made a lot of money, but it was so expensive that I think it still lost money, even though it was one of the top grossing movies of that year.
Waterworld?
Yeah, Waterworld. Like Waterworld again is a movie that I think it broke even, but it just was...
It was so expensive.
Yeah, The Postman I think lost way more money than Waterworld did, but... Like when but nowadays you see a really big fucking flop a lot. Like when I went to go see like The Lone Ranger, yeah, that movie fucking bombed, but I didn't think like, oh, this is the last time Gore Verbinski's ever gonna direct anything. With a movie like this, like I want Alex Proyas to come back and do something really good, but this is... Wow, it seems like it'll be a while before they give him something else.
What else has he done?
The Crow, Dark City.
Okay.
iRobot.
Where is he going, then? This is super different from those things you just listed.
Well, it has about the level of effects work iRobot had.
I did not get him.
Oh, hell no.
I watched that movie, and that's the 3 impressions I have. I did not kill him.
And oh hell no.
And those bitchin' Converses they made specifically for Will Smith.
Just like in the source material.
Yes. It's very important to the allegory.
Yeah.
I don't know what all to say about this movie.
I do got something else.
Oh.
Did you... I know, it's impressive, right?
I was seriously watching this movie like this.
You were, and so was I.
I was trying to prop my head up so it would make me not sleepy.
I've got... I feel more tired at this than I did last night, and I hadn't slept for days when I saw 999. This feels like, with the way that the actors are, the way they look, the way that they're acting, it feels like they're not... And I'm not really even, to a point I am, but like talking about the special effects, it feels like they're not actually there. Like in that Gerard Butler has no idea he's in this movie. Jeffrey Rush has no idea they're in this movie.
Oh, poor Jeffrey Rush.
This feels like the makers of this movie created their own Jeffrey Rush and their own Gerard Butler to put in this movie.
They stuck that ridiculous, like, Q hairstyle on him. Oh, like, oh yeah, it'll be accurate. And then the Gerard Butler keep his fucking beard.
Yeah, Gerard Butler keeps his fucking beard because it seems like they just maybe took leftover footage from 300 and assembled their own character of Gerard Butler in this film.
We're getting to that point technology-wise where I can see that happening.
It reminds me of what Roger Ebert said about Caligula, which was that it doesn't seem like any of the actors are actually here in this movie between all of the random stuff going on in the background and the fact that Caligula, some of it was assembled from just behind-the-scenes footage and dailies and just random footage that they shot and kind of manufactured some scenes together out of it. Not that I really think that whenever I watch Caligula, but I do hear, I get what he's saying in terms of this movie.
Oh yeah, they're like, because there are scenes where I guess the gods can like transform themselves, and sometimes they'll transform everything but their heads. So there are scenes where it's just like this animatronic, CGI body walking around with just Jaime Lannister's head on it. It's like, they could have gotten that head anywhere. They could have stolen that head from Game of Thrones.
Yeah, they could have, exactly. Or taken, like, unused Josh Holloway.
Just like, from far away.
Yeah.
He's got the same hairstyle, generally.
The casting is so off in this that I kind of wish it was Josh Holloway playing Horace.
That would have made me super happy.
Yeah.
Except that I don't want anyone to get fired because of Josh Holloway.
Well, if there was something that I could have clinged to in this movie, it was Jaime Lannister. Because, like, not that anyone gives a solid performance in this movie. He worked for this kind of, like, swaggering character. This kind
like
of smug, smartass.
Figuring out that people are people too.
Yeah, but like being really one-liner heavy and smug, and like he had that kind of like Harrison Ford swagger. Like
I showed up to set today hungover, so we're not going to do a lot of action scenes.
Yeah, and that was kind of working for me. If there was anything I could hold on to in this, I mean, it was his one-liners usually didn't even make sense.
Possible.
But I like him, and he was... I want to see him do a better movie than this that I actually feel like he's aware that he's a participant in.
Sometimes a person can be charming enough that they can say a sentence that doesn't actually make any sense, but you're like, yes, that's deep.
He has one-liners in this movie that are only because this is a movie. When he says to the snake that's on fire, like, he puts the girl underneath the little underground walkway, and he says to the fiery snake, like, boy, I'd rather be with you.
Yeah, because his ex-lover showed up, and he's like, this guy.
Yeah. So he has to say that sentence really fast.
Because he's running from fire at the moment.
And he is the only one there to hear himself say that. So it's a burn on his ex, who wasn't present to hear that. But he had to say it just really fast and really quick enough because there's a ball of fire shooting at him.
Which, okay, the ex-girlfriend, not the best actress, but she was really pretty. I will give her that. Like, in terms of prettiness, she really brought it.
You trying to think of something else to say about gods of Egypt?
There was only one other thing, and it's just like a snippet of a thought, and that's that at the beginning, during the coronation, like, they were kind of parading all the gods in front of us to be like, you know what, Osiris, the god of light, Nephthys, the goddess of protection, and they were all like having really, really, really short conversations with the king and queen, and you got the impression that these were originally much longer conversations that they decided not to include at the last minute, but they wanted to include a little bit of it, and that's all I got.
Just enough for exposition. Hell,
yes, like, I think that he is almost close enough to being good as a king, and that was the last line that guy had for like the next 45 minutes.
Oh yeah, this movie is still doing exposition in the last minute that it's on. When he says to the Beck, when he says to him, like, well, as my chief advisor, I think you should be capable to run Egypt without me. Which I do want to talk about that Beck kid for a minute, because that's one of the most obnoxious fucking leads that I've seen in an action film.
And just like from a leadership standpoint, you don't pick the thief that's good at flipping over shit as your chief advisor of government. He's not gonna know what the fuck he's doing.
No.
He's just gonna stand there and look pretty, and occasionally have a deeper insight derived from his street smarts. But that's no basis for a system of government.
This kid spends the whole movie whining, being really... His style of acting in this movie and the lines he's given are, one, smarmy as fuck, and two, kind of straight out of like an 80s like Beastmaster type movie. Like,
what would I be? The god of stupidity? Blah.
Yeah. Like,
Or like, what's it gotta be some sort of madman to attempt this? And she's like, where should we find such a madman? Like, yeah, like Jack of all trades, or like Hercules.
Yeah. So, like, he would be the lead character on, like, a late 90s television show that's a syndicated series that's probably on at 1 in the morning on whatever channel you fell asleep with it on. Yeah, he's not even out of necessarily a Beastmaster movie, but one of the Italian knockoffs of a Beastmaster movie. Like, just this... When we first see him at the beginning, and he's kind of like, well, like, you know, I don't want to wait around for the gods to answer your prayers.
I steal only what I can afford.
Yeah. And then he's put into slavery, and his attitude has not changed at all between this drastic change in his life.
Yeah, he's just like, oh, okay, I guess I have to go steal her from a different place now.
Yeah, like, I want you to know, my sweet, I'm working on that plan to save you.
Yeah. I've broken into this place for no other reason to smile smugly at you, even though I basically almost got you fired. And by fired, I mean driven out into the street and forced to haul rocks.
And I'm supposed to buy that someone really wants to save this guy. Like, when Horace has the choice at the end. Go for it.
I have so much to say about that, but finish your thought.
You probably have the same thought as me.
Which is that if he had gone for the eyeball, he could have stuck it in his face and gotten his bird powers back, and then gone and saved the kid. Okay, so the eyeball and the kid are both falling off of the ledge of this tower, and the eyeball is falling off because the kid had the eyeball and was like, Horace, catch! And then throws it nowhere near Horace. So Horace has a decision to make. Does he go after the eyeball, which he could stick back into his face and get his
I'm not sure where it cut you off.
So the kid and the eyeball are falling down the ledge of this building. The eyeball is falling because the kid like threw it. Went, Horace, catch! Nowhere near where Horace was. So he's got a decision to make. Does he A, go after the eyeball, which he can cram back into his head, gain his magical bird powers back, and then go save the kid? Or does he dive listlessly after the kid and catch him, and then have no recourse after that because he does not have his magical bird powers back because he did not go after the eyeball? The answer is B, because he's an idiot, and I literally went like, even though I so did not care at this point in the movie. No,
I didn't either, and I agree with everything you just said because I was thinking the exact same thing because this movie didn't even make it believable for me that anyone would give a shit that kid died. Like, if they had formed some kind of bond or something like that throughout a single minute of this movie's 2-hour plus runtime, I would at least feel like, okay, I think he's making a terrible mistake, but I understand in regards that at least he cares for this person.
Okay, he is not very smart. The movie has it developed that he's not a very smart person.
Yeah.
So I could see him making that gaping logic flaw.
Yeah.
But he didn't really, they didn't get along. They didn't really like each other.
No, they didn't. There is at least a dozen times where that kid, who is immortal, is flung probably 20 or 30 feet in the air and lands on several things that would break every bone in his body. And a lot of those times, it's Jaime Lannister who's fucking punching his ass and flinging him halfway across the fucking field into, rocks,
it's
the ground.
Backhands him into a rock.
Yeah, he makes him go get him, water and shit like that. There was a goofy back and forth about drinking that, magical Nile water, and he's like, what do I do if I drink it? And Jaime Lannister is like, you'd be very refreshed, and then you would die, because I would kill you for drinking my water.
You burned him.
Yeah.
Because they're buddies.
They both practically have the same dialogue. They're both smarmy and smug, and, use every opportune to deliver some kind of one-liner, even if there's no one around. It's just that Lannister does it way better than this kid, because Lannister at least looks and acts like a movie star. If this movie didn't have so much fucking CGI splooge all over it, it would feel like one of the movies they're making in the movie Hail Caesar.
Okay.
This would be the movie that George Clooney is starring in.
Can I point out another flaw in the logic of their plan at the end? Why did they steal the architect?
To get him to the top of that monument?
But they didn't. They killed him halfway up.
I guess by that point they figured out how an elevator works.
It was like, okay, so they say, oh, we're gonna go fishing, and they steal the architect. So you think, okay, the architect is bait somehow.
Mm-hmm.
And then Jamie Lannister gets off of the elevator to scale the wall instead of just taking the elevator, and leaves the little kid behind with the architect. And the little kid then murders the architect because he doesn't like him as a person.
Yeah.
Gue plummets to his death. There was no reason for that to happen other than so that the kid could kill the architect.
Other than so that, yeah, the architect could get his comeuppance, and
Yeah.
the kid could kill him out of revenge for keeping his girlfriend.
Yeah.
There's a lot of off-screen rape that happens in this story.
I believe so. From the way the architect was talking, I think that yes, you're correct.
Yeah, there's a horrifying movie that's in between the scenes of this.
Yeah, I don't know what this movie is. PG-13,
It's
probably.
PG-13.
Yeah,
Yeah,
because
they bleed gold in
there's
it.
an awful lot of blood in this movie, but it's all gold colored.
It's gold. It's gold. So it's all right.
And yeah, all the rape is off screen.
And the rape is off screen, so it's perfectly suitable for the family. Another reason that makes this Bet kid like just one of those silly characters you would see in, like, I don't know, like a Krull knockoff or some shit like that. There's like how Lannister's going around doing one-liners to himself. There's scenes where that kid is almost narrating his own action, like when he's crossing those death trap bridges, and he's the only one there, and he's saying things out loud for us, the audience.
Like, oh, that'll make you afraid of your own shadow.
Yeah, that'll, oh boy. It said there's 3 bridges, but this only says 2. Boy, is that surprising. Meanwhile, you have lines like Jeffrey Rush saying things like, I gotta kill the birds when they come on my boat before they all shit. just as
Again, not aware of what movie he was in. He was just in a green screen room, and he walked in and he said some lines, and they gave him a big old bag of money.
he's got dude, Jeffrey Rush, you should do this, man. You're floating on this boat in space, and you can raise the sun like it's a fucking bobber on a fishing line. I really hope that, like, all of those, like, fucking flat earthers out there start using this movie
I still
as
can't
one of
believe
their
that's
sources.
a thing again. Why is that a thing again?
Because internet.
Because internet. Because anything worth believing is worth questioning. Except what shape the earth is.
Yeah, it's been
Because they fly around it all the time.
Yeah, it's been a while since we had a good round Earth versus flat Earth argument.
That's true.
Not since, like, it's
We
been
could burn them.
centuries.
Yeah. Just start excommunicating people again. That'll be fun.
Just like the good old days.
Yeah.
Oh, man. So good.
We are so out of stuff to talk about.
Yeah, we were talking about whether or not the Earth is round. Man, this fucking movie. It is...
We can't even skip ahead to the previews because we missed them.
No,
last
we
time.
missed the previews. We showed up and, like, the Allegiant trailer was on. So that's a movie coming out. Yeah, we don't have the previews to talk about.
We were
like,
late.
yeah, we went to go dinner at Red Lobster and I accidentally left my card there. Luckily, it's only, like, not even a minute from here. So just boom, grab card, come back. And in that minute of being gone, the fucking line in there grew.
What? Who the hell were those people? Because those were some of the most obnoxious people I've seen in a really long time.
The
And I
people
think
in
it was
front of us?
2 distinct groups, yeah. Because there was, like, the 2 teenage girls in, like, leggings and crop tops showing each other what apparently were disgusting things on each other's phones and giggling shrilly.
Yeah.
And the people in front of them, which is, like, 3 prepubescent boys trying to talk their mother into letting them go see Deadpool.
Oh, yeah. I overheard that, and I overheard the one kid in front of us saying, he pointed out where it says NC-17 on the ratings thing, where it just explains the ratings to stupid people, I guess. And the kid said, something like NC-17, that's what Deadpool should have been rated. I'm like, oh, aren't you precious? What should RoboCop be rated? XXX?
Yeah!
Yeah, man. I didn't know he could hear my thoughts. The gods are stupid. And it was even more annoying that there was only one employee for a while working the box office when there was a fairly big line. So there was one employee up there for a little while before a second one eventually showed up.
Poor old Carrot Top.
Yeah, it was totally Carrot Top. Carrot Top was working there what seemed like it was probably only his second day on the job, and there was this annoying older couple like this. Goddamn, just speed this along. I want to see this shitty movie.
We need to go see Gods of Egypt.
Yeah,
we're gonna miss the first part.
Well, thank God we didn't, because it is some movies you just look at and you can tell this movie's gonna open with narration. Mm-hmm. Boy, that happens here.
No reason for there to be narration. Mm-hmm. No reason for there to be narration from the character that there was narration from, mm-hmm. which is the annoying little Pip character, mm-hmm. and no reason for him to be an old man voice as if he was telling the story 20 years in the future. Because we don't go 20 years in the future.
No, we do not.
At any point in this movie.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so there's no the only reason why that would be hilarious is if his older self was Bob Saget for some reason.
I've been rewatching that
kids?
on Netflix. There was the episode where they're trying to figure out who Robin was singing that song about, P.S. I Love You. And it was Dave Coulier, and he's like, it wasn't me, cut it out. And the narrator was like, I love that joke. Like, Bob Saget, I get it.
That show didn't work out in the end. I never found out why he suddenly has Bob Saget's voice as a grown-ass man.
I'm aware of how the show ends. I'm
Sucks.
Not pleased with it, so I might just watch up until the second to last episode.
By that point, you might as well continue, because it's not like that show was awesome and then the ending sucked.
I could just watch it and then pretend it didn't happen, like Buffy season 7.
Yeah, or like certain seasons of Dexter, or like, yeah, like How I Met Your Mother was a show that like it had me pretty solid for about the first 5 seasons or so, until I was like, you need to stop milking this fucking story. So I kind of just stopped watching because it got pretty shitty.
I like your last season of The Gilmore Girls.
Oh, fuck that season. Oh, I'm so glad that's coming back, so that like they can
resolve all the unresolved storylines.
It was the last season of Gilmore Girls. They dropped the creators as the writers for it, so it was under a new it was under new showrunners and head writers and everything, and you could tell. Like,
when they bring it back, is it gonna have the creators?
Oh
again?
yeah.
Hooray!
That's why I'm glad it's coming back. So. We can actually, yeah, that was more me and Brian's thing.
I'm not into it, but I know you boys love it. So
we do.
I'm excited for you.
We are very excited.
Well, it's you and Brian, and I think Irving also really likes Gilmore Girls.
I think Ryan does too.
It's all boys that I know that like the Gilmore Girls. I think maybe it's because you guys are more forgiving of Lorelai than I am.
I think so, because I love Lorelai.
I don't like her.
I mean, I hated what they did with her in the 7th season. Don't even get me started.
I won't get you started.
But I mean, you raise a good point, because I remember saying to Jillian, like, did you watch Gilmore Girls? And Jillian's like, ugh!
And it's like she's so mean to her parents for no reason, and it's like sending her child to boarding school, and she's like,
I understand.
too busy wearing like little girl jeans and kissing dudes.
There are points when I'm like, yeah, you're being a little hard on your mom, Lorelai, towards Emily, but there are times when Emily Gilmore's a fucking monster.
Yeah. That's not gonna make me like the show more.
It should. But every time Emily Gilmore does something monstrous, she does something that's fucking amazing. that makes me forgive like that horrible thing she did several episodes prior.
Maybe I should just start in the 2nd season, because honestly what turned me off with that awful Paris girl, and it's my understanding they become friends later.
They do. Paris gets way more tolerable as the show goes on.
I said I don't like being stressed out. I'm not going to watch a show that stresses me out.
Oh, then you should watch Breaking Bad.
Oh, okay. No! I tried that. It stressed me out too bad. Let's keep watching How I Met Your Mother over and over again.
It's like Violet when she and I left The Witch, and she's like, I hate being mad at a movie for doing its job correctly. She's like, I don't like going to something and then having it give me an anxiety attack.
Okay, so I'm not watching The Witch then.
You would probably like it.
Would it give me an anxiety attack?
You like horror movies better than Violet does.
That's true.
So no, I think you'd like The Witch.
Okay. The only time I don't like a horror movie is that, well, first of all, if it's like so gross that I start gagging. Or second of all, if it's like one of those, like, there's a murderer, but the murderer is making it seem like the main character's crazy and they're maybe the murderer, like in the Candyman.
That can get a little stressful.
Yeah.
Yeah, I hear what you're saying there. I like Candyman. But
I adore Candyman, but that's because I've gotten used to it because I love the movie so much that I'm willing to look past the fact that that plot is like my least favorite plot of all the plots.
Same. Yeah, I hear you on that.
Plus, he's doing it out of love.
He's the god of love.
Yeah.
Just like in this movie. What do you is there any form you would recommend this?
No. Absolutely not. Like, if it's on TV and you can't find the clicker, just like plug your ears, I guess. If it's on TV and you've lost the clicker, make like a pot holder while it's on. Then you can look up every once in a while and be like, what the fuck just happened?
Yeah, if it's on TV and you're curious enough to see this blatant, just bomb of a fucking movie, I mean, who am I to stop you? There's been plenty of movies that I've watched for that reason. Like, I hear this was a colossal fuck up. I need to see this. This is going to be that kind of movie. This is going to be the kind of movie that people watch to satisfy their curiosity about how really fucking bad it is.
I assure you it's terrible.
And if you get baked off your ass and watch it at like 3 a.m, like Dave and I probably would have some years ago, like, yeah, you could get an enjoyment to a point.
I feel like if you're gonna get baked off your ass at 3 o'clock in the morning, though, there are better movies for you to watch.
Yeah, well, if it's
watch The Wall.
That's when I'm like doing shrooms or some shit. Like,
The Wall is fantastic sober. I don't care who knows.
No, I agree.
That movie. So like any drug that you're doing, watch The Wall.
Yeah, I mean,
it's got like marching hammers in it. It's got a vagina that turns into a snake, that turns into a flower, that turns into a snake, and that turns into a pterodactyl.
No,
There's nothing not to like about that movie.
I agree. I like that movie, but I think like, and yeah, that movie also works whether you're on drugs or not. But if I'm gonna watch something because I'm baked, I would probably rather watch something that I would not enjoy unless I was baked.
I guess that makes sense. Okay, so yeah, watch this if you're baked. I still think there's gotta be something better than this, though.
Titus.
Yes, watch Titus.
Yeah. This movie wore me out. I don't even know what the fuck's coming out next week.
Next week is Zootopia. I know because I called dibs.
Oh, okay. Next week is Zootopia. Yes. Right on. So that's coming out next week.
Hopefully it's not terrible. That sloth makes me laugh every goddamn time I watch the preview.
I want to see it. It looks good. It looks better than this shit.
We're gonna go home and go to sleep, you guys.
See ya.